My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a dead twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. Both twins, Carl and Peggy, had been murdered. Peggy 2 weeks before about 1 to 2 weeks before I was brought there in 1941 at age 2. I'm putting this up because things haven't changed for me until the mess is stopped and addressed. I'm 70, almost 80 years old, and I don't know if my children, Mark and Scott, are alive or well or what's happened to them. I do know what happened to them the day they were each born. And then the following was certainly hell and hell to me, and it's never stopped. So people can laugh and make fun of me, in which they've had, and I keep saying there's a few that didn't on YouTube, etc. But I'm talking about people throughout my life when they absolutely knew what was happening to me and being done. Now I want to put this up again in part because of the journalist at the Washington Post. And I'm having trouble here because what I've been held here where I'm living and have been for quite a while. I've managed to until now. It's reached the point where I can't. A lot of things that I won't get into. I'm allergic to chemicals, so they can run me using that. And I quoted Virginia State Trooper Carl Barton, wife Linda, when they brought me down from the mountain. I'd run up there because it's how I've been run, is using chemicals, toxic fumes that make me sick, and they can damage your brain, for God's sake, as if mine hasn't been gone after enough. I'm going to skip around here because if it's not told, it doesn't matter anymore anyway, does it? I have an autoimmune disorder, and I'm allergic to toxic fumes. And I'm going to show some pictures and hope I connect it in case there's some of these people who don't quite understand that this has been done like a diary I put out over the years, so that there would be some record of the truth in all this if my children are alive and able to see it, because they didn't know the truth about why all this was done to babies and then to them as they grew and to their mom. My father's Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Warfield Simpson. He married Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe, my aunt. You won't find a picture of my mom. They took all of them down when she was Queen of England, they were married, and my father wouldn't go along and take orders from the Illuminati in 1936. So they took him down. My father and mother were married in the Church of England, and they took my father down with character assassination. The Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedys. Joe Kennedy had been appointed ambassador to England by my uncle George here. This is Hyde Park. Here is Roosevelt and Elizabeth's mother. She's a Rothschild. The banking, they helped kidnap me. They all did. This group here. This is Roosevelt's mother, and this is called the First Lady. You should read the biography of her and see what she's connected to. The global government, which is your United Nations, and I can hardly talk this morning, okay? So I either get going or to somewhere else. I'm not very good anymore. They finally got me, and somebody can say, oh, well, it was just crazy. The United States doesn't do this. Larry Flint, let me go to this. Elizabeth's still living good. Nobody's put her before sent President Trump to demand she explain why this is all happening to me and who I am and why she's sitting in the castles and I'm begging for a place to live. besides of what's been done to me, and about the overthrow. She works for the Illuminati, not the British government. She's illegal anyway, so is her father. Okay, this is Wallace Simpson, the American spy. And no, she wasn't German. Thank you, the person that had to inject somehow Germany. No, Germany helped me. This is one of the doubles that married, well, one of them married Wallace. Certainly wasn't my father. He was still married to my mom in October of 86 when I came to Roanoke. And they were both alive. Here's Georgia again. I'm going to show you this one now. This is Eleanor Roosevelt, Franklin's wife. Franklin Roosevelt was the president who appointed Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, ambassador to England in 1936, same year that my father was king, and his father, my grandfather, George V, had died. I started to say been murdered. I don't know, because I have my wonders now and questions. Anyway, Elizabeth is certainly the criminal, and her father, George V, who's illegal, an uncle, I'm sad to say. They've kept quiet about it. Now, this is Eleanor Roosevelt with Wallace Simpson. Wallace married double, Duke and Duchess of Windsor. They had to take my mother down. Artist George O'Keeffe's my aunt. My mom was a school teacher. They took her down. And I'm having trouble talking now because I've been around chemicals. And here I didn't run this time. And I don't know, I guess it's cold outside. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Because somebody just say I'm a liar, right? Now then, this is Wallace. She's shaking hands in October 1941. They're saying she's, this is what they're saying. This is her, and this is Eleanor Roosevelt's wife up here. That picture was taken in 1939 when I was born. They were planning my kidnapping. Here they've just completed it. And their job well done, Eleanor and the American spy Wallace Simpson, who married a double. So they took down my father and they just finished kidnapping me, because I was kidnapped the 1st of 1941. I'm having trouble talking because the fumes. I hope I get better in here. Anyway, I'm not doing too good. Anyway, they're congratulating anyone, the two of them. And they were close friends. They plotted it, planned it, and what they didn't plan was my father and mother having a child. They were 40 and 45 when I was born in 39, and in 41 they kidnapped me. JFK helped, brought me to this family, and believe me, that doesn't look like that family. They were all dressed up there, and this is me, I think in 43, and this is George, who was 3 years older than me, I believe, and he's about the only one. They're all dead except one, and this is Lina Dempsey, the mother of the twins, and the one that they told me I had to call mother. She's a psychopath. And I guess that's what I was going to show here. I did a book before I found out about my kidnapping. And by the way, I just got rid of, well, I won't say that. Anyway, I was going to say something else. This is a campaign I was in. I'd written a book about Congressman Larry McDonald, a doctor from Atlanta, Georgia, Piedmont Hospital. He was included in the medical malpractice book. Part of it was the Tesla files, how you cure an illness or create one. And that was back in 30. They were stolen, and President Trump's uncle was a professor at MIT, and supposedly he stole the files. There's a lot more to the Tesla files. and then the FBI were supposed to have gotten hold of them. So I had a letter from the FBI June the 23rd of 79. I thought it was in reference to the book, but later I found out that it's about my kidnapping and who I am. I'm the legal heir to the British Crown. And I'm not going to go into all that again about how my father was forced out by character assassination. Okay, in 83, I was flown out to Larry Flint's of Hustler magazine. He says I know who was responsible for his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And talks about some others here. I've put this up. But anyway, this was in, I hope I didn't show the front of it, or April of 1984. Okay, I'd run in the campaign. I was running for the president, which, that didn't work out. They wouldn't cover me. The press didn't. And then I run out of funds, and Mr. Flynn had helped me then. So for whatever reason, I think this was sent to me by an FBI agent who worked at Hustler magazine. So I'll leave it there. This was, I guess Mr. Flint sent it. It was sent from St. Cloud. He lived at St. Cloud, Bel Air, on St. Cloud, Bel Air, California, when I was here in October of 83. Now then, they send me this, and it's sent for a reason out of Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Twin Cities there, the St. Cloud, and I've forgotten now. Well, I haven't forgotten. I hope I haven't. I'm just been around some stuff that's really gotten me going here. And I don't know, it's cold out there, so you stay or go or what? I did want to get this up, though. They're talking about the journalist. I think I got everything up there. The journalist that's been, they said, killed. The press here were the ones that went after Trump, all of them. That's all you can hear about. The Saudis killed this journalist that worked for the Washington Post. So I'm not going to tell about what the Washington Post did when I went up there in 1982. Again, Mrs. Graham, I was trying to tell her about her husband, Philip Graham, who sat on the communication satellite, the intelligence satellite, okay? I wanted to go back to this, and then I'm going to stop because I'm in pretty bad shape. So, do anything to me you want to. You have to have your brain to live. I told about Henry Kissinger in 1972 in connection to Victor Gonzalez in Atlanta, who, as far as I know, he's still in practice. He's admitted to killing 2 patients who talked too much. He was responsible for sending hitmen after me, 4 of them, just about a week or 2 weeks after I was drugged and taken across to College Park, Georgia, the trolley tracks, and it was a clinic that you can go back and see. It was still there in December of 1982. So it was still there. I was taken there, and I knew what was going on, but I couldn't speak or anything. So I was put there, and I'm going to leave out the details because if phone call didn't come through, they were going to lobotomize me. Well, I don't know. You can do that with what's being done to me now over time, and really right now with the things you can arrange, and then make me look like, because the law doesn't work for me, just say, oh, well, she's a nutcase. Well, that's not true at all. That's the most biggest lie ever hatched out of hell. But hey, I'm only the Queen of England. You've installed Elizabeth, America, part of my own family, and Winston Churchill, part of my own country. His mother was part American, though. Thank God for the good. My mom was an American, a beautiful lady, but here, So I wanted to put this down before it goes off because they've gone over there and they've accused the prince of Saudi Arabia, the king, and cough it up and what they should do to the Americans should push forward and have it prosecuted, and how they dismembered this journalist and killed him recently. Okay, what do you think you've done to me all my life and my children just because you haven't told it? You control the media and the press. And you've had every chance in the world, just like Elizabeth has, to cough it up. Why don't you send your press up there in hordes like you've sent them down there and say, hey, cough up, who are you really? But then they're the Illuminati. The very people that kidnapped me control your press, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, and the Kennedy clan, and the Roosevelt clan. So, anyway, nobody's gone after her to tell the truth and said, hey, under perjury, cough it up, tell the truth for once, because we're going to do a DNA. She doesn't have to pay for it anymore, since the Brits were the ones that told her who she is. I'm talking about me. They told me who I am. And I know who I am, and my father and mother, and I've told all this over and over. Now, so this doesn't go off. When I went to Larry Flint's in October, the 1st October, 83 in this campaign, he'd flown me out there. And he had been shot by a program shooter in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th of 78, if I can remember, because I'm in bad shape right now. Wow. Do I stay or do I go, or where do I go, and what happens there has been the thing. And then somebody turn around and say, oh, our country doesn't do that, something wrong with you. So I'm just going to get back to this, if I can. I was greeted by a limo driver at the airport. I had no money, and they'd done all this to me. Then April the 1st of 80, they'd almost killed me, is how. Then I have put up here about back to Gonzales in 72 and the Watergate tapes that were 18-minute gap. Okay, on that gap is where Henry Kissinger, a Jew, head of your global government now, that said there was pictures of him and Diana, and he's got his arm around her and shaking hands and all that she should be queen. Okay, he is your global government. And he's still alive. On those 18-minute gap, 18.5-minute gap, is where he's ordering me lobotomized if the Brits don't follow through and cross the Americans and the Illuminati's palm with whatever treaties they need or money they need funneled through, etc., to keep me alive. So I remember Gonzales standing over me and grinning, so I lived to die another day. Now then, how better to go after your brain, right? But now, all the press has known about my kidnapping, my father being taken down, married to my mom. They've known all this. So Larry Flint said to me, when the limo driver brought me back there, and I hope I'm able to even talk and think today, said they were going to send you back a vegetable. And so he meant the Americans were going to send me back to Britain a vegetable. That's, they really went after it. The Watergate tapes, 18-minute gap, Henry Kissinger ordering it right out of the White House. April Fool Day of 80, they almost did it then. Okay, I'm going to get back to 1980 during the campaign for U.S. Congress that Mr. Flint flew me out there because he had been shot by a program shooter, and that's what I was writing about, the Tesla files.